So today we are supposed to start our course, Groundwater Modeling. It was supposed to have started last week, same time, but unfortunately I have been indisposed for the past 2 weeks, but hopefully we will be able to start something today. Okay? Today will just be more or less an introductory class in which I will try to explain the syllabus from the beginning to the end, the expectations and all the activities that we will be carrying out during this course, and as well as the assessment plan, which is very important. So we'll discuss each of these aspects, and if time permits us, then we can start something on the introductory part of the course. Although I expected, because based on my list, I have, I think, about 18 that are in hydraulics that are supposed to take this course as a core course. Right now, currently I have 8. Probably some are on their way. Even the 8 I have, not all may be, like in hydraulics, MSc 1 or 2. Is it 1? 1. Okay. So that's why I divided my attendance into 3, because the PGD students, postgraduate diploma students, are also supposed to be part of us. Are they aware? Okay.
We're supposed to have the class together with them. I don't know what this week. Because last week, HOD told me that they are going to join us.
Yeah, all the time, as long as they don't have anything at this time. They are supposed to have something, another course, but if they don't, then they will be part of us. Yeah, so the postgraduate diploma, they are supposed to be part of us as well. And then there are some that that would like to audit the course, that just want to attend the course. So my attendance is divided into 3, as I will explain later. Those that are regular students, that is the MSc 1, and then the postgraduate diploma students, and then those that just want to attend the course. Because like I started telling them, even if you just want to attend the course, it doesn't mean you will just come at will, come today and don't show up tomorrow. No. You must have good attendance. Except that for the assessment plan, you will not take any exam, any homework, any assignment. Even if you want to do that, you can do that, but it's not mandatory on you. But attendance is mandatory for anybody who, even if he just wants to attend the class, attendance is mandatory. And that's why attendance is very important, and not just attendance, but coming on time. We were supposed to have started right at 8. I came before 8, moving to the class only to realize that the class is locked. So next time, if it is 8, we are starting at 8, not 8:10, 8:20, because we have just 2 hours today. And then we will try to find another hour, because as you can see, the course is a 3-credit-hour course, meaning we have to meet 3 hours per week. So on the schedule, the timetable, we have only 2 hours, 8 to 10. Then hopefully today we will find another hour to make it up to 3 hours per week. With that preamble, I think we can look at the syllabus. This is the course content. It is a 3-credit-hour course. That is my email address, should you want to contact me. And then the course description is presented. That is the current course description, which is what we have. But I modified the course description, or the course syllabus. The remote, I don't know why it is not working, so I have to be using this. And the HDMI, it's not connecting with the system. That I will have to sort out later. So I will have to be, okay. So this is the current course description, which basically talks about the hydrology of subsurface water. That's the review of some basic aspect of hydrology which you did at undergrad in 503. And for those in MS, you might have done it also in hydrology. And then the modeling aspect, which is having to do with the general numerical modeling, finite difference, iterative solutions, and what not. But then I proposed a review, an amendment to the current course description, in which I intend to review the groundwater hydrology, which is something that all of you must have known, because as the course is, this is modeling. Modeling entails one has to understand the basics, the concepts very clearly before you can model any physical system. So for that, the review is very, very vital. Although if you look at the review, it's nothing new per se. You must have done them in one course or the other. In the previous courses you took under hydrology. We'll review the properties of porous media and aquifer, review of equation of motion for steady and unsteady groundwater flow, methods of analysis in confined and unconfined aquifers, estimation of recharge, river aquifer interaction, seawater intrusion. But now the review will be focused on certain salient points. Like I said, they are not new to you. Okay, but we'll be putting particular attention to those aspects of the review that is important to groundwater modeling, in which, as we move further, the review will be very, very important when formulating our governing equations, our boundary conditions. We need to understand these properties very well. Very well. Unlike, probably you might have done them in hydrology, but that one you did and passed, and some of you might have even forgot. So this is a chance for you to now refresh your memory about it. So what I'm trying to say here is that the review will assume as if you have no exposure to hydrology at all. It will start from zero, ground zero, as if you never did anything in hydrology. But of course, it's going to be rapid in a way, because of course you had a lot of contact with courses in hydrology. But then the way it is going to be taken is as if you had nothing, no background in hydrology, and then we move on. But just like I mentioned, with particular attention to the salient points that are important to groundwater modeling. So those particular points I'll be highlighting in the course of our discussion. So don't think that the review, I know all this, I did them. Probably you may find one or two things that you will probably hear some maybe more explanation about them, which probably you might have never had before. And then after the review could take us some time, as you can see, although one can do it maybe in one class, but like I mentioned, there are a lot of things that are very, very vital, because modeling entails a lot. Entails knowing the process in total, not just to start writing the PDEs and then applying the particular solver to use and model, but you have to begin from the very first step, which is understanding the process. You have to have a thorough understanding of the process before you will be able to adequately model it. And that is the target of the review. Okay, is to instill in you the basic understanding of these topics, which you have covered before, but then now with a particular attention to modeling. Okay, and then as we move on, the review part will be coming to mind. All of the things we are going to do under the review, you will use them in the modeling aspect in one way or the other. Okay, so don't think, I don't need to attend this review, I did them before, I know them, I'm even teaching them. Okay, just give us some time. Probably you may find one or two things that you may be interested in. Okay, this review could take us so many lectures, although they look very pretty simple. Okay, but we will start hopefully today. And then the modeling part. The modeling part, as I mentioned, entails knowing the process in total. Not just to start writing the PDEs and then applying the particular solver to use and model, but you have to begin from the very first step, which is understanding the process. You have to have a thorough understanding of the process before you will be able to adequately model it. And that is the target of the review. Okay, is to instill in you the basic understanding of the process. You will use them in the modeling aspect in one way or the other. Okay, so don't think, I don't need to attend this review, I don't need to attend this review. Just give us some time. Probably you may find one or two things that you may be interested in. Okay, just give us some time. Probably you may find one or two things that you may be interested in. Okay, but we will start hopefully today. And then the modeling part. The modeling part will consider the mathematical and numerical techniques needed to develop models and to solve problems in water and contaminant transport in porous media. In the previous one, although there is the modeling part and there is remedial action in aquifer, more often than not, we are interested, yes, in groundwater modeling. But at the same time, groundwater modeling will be incomplete without considering contamination. You have your groundwater. More often than not, you can have some sources of contamination. So what happens to groundwater when it is contaminated? How do you model the contaminant transport? So groundwater modeling and contaminant transport, they go hand in hand. More often than not, they are inseparable. But of course, the concept is basically the same in the sense that you first have to model the groundwater, and then we will see now when you have a contaminant, what is going to change in the governing equations? How do you model the contaminant flow, the fate and transport of the contaminant along with the groundwater? Some of you may say, oh, I'm in hydraulics, I don't have anything to do with environmental engineering. Isn't it that contaminant, this is deviating from my area? But when you talk about groundwater modeling, as we are going to see in the introduction of the modeling, by and large, we are talking about quantity. Probably you have an aquifer in which you want to install some wells to withdraw water. But then you have your pumping wells, you want to determine the spacing and the rates of pumping. But at the same time, you may want to determine, you may have some recharge wells, either for quality control or to recharge the aquifer. So you may like to know the spacing and the rates of recharge or pumping so that the aquifer will not be adversely affected. When pumping water from groundwater, the quantity changes as well as the quality. So you can never separate quantity and quality when it comes to groundwater. And for that reason, you cannot separate groundwater modeling and contaminant transport modeling. Because as you are continuously pumping from the groundwater, the quantity is changing. That is the hydraulics aspect. But the quality is affected as well. There could be increased salinization, there could be increased nitrate concentration, microbes, pathogens, and what have you. So in that case, the quality is also affected. So to take it holistically, you cannot just say, no, I just want to model the groundwater alone, and I have nothing to do with the contaminant. Because while pumping, you are affecting the quality. So you cannot turn a blind eye on that. So that is why they go hand in hand. They go hand in hand, okay? So don't think, no, this is, I have nothing to do, this is environmental engineering and I'm majoring in hydraulics. No, they go together. If you check all books on groundwater modeling, they will start with the groundwater modeling first, and then they move to contaminant transport. Because you cannot separate quantity from quality. And as much as possible, as someone who is a graduate of water resource and environmental engineering, because even your MS, it will not read your specialization. No, nowhere. It will read MSc in water resources and environmental engineering. Of course, you have a specialization. That is understandable. But even right from the word go, that is why water and environment are lumped up under one department. Because for practical purposes, of course, there are a lot of instances in which you can distinctly separate them apart. But there are a lot of instances in which they work hand in hand, that you cannot explicitly separate water from environmental processes. Okay, and this is one of them. Quantity and quality, as far as groundwater is concerned, cannot be separated. As you are pumping, if you feel your concern is just to pump out water from groundwater, okay, good, I'm fine. But then that pumping is affecting the groundwater quality over time. Then how do you take care of that? Must you now employ the services of an environmental engineer to come and study how the impact or how your activities are affecting the groundwater quality? No. You have to be equipped with all the necessary tools that will enable you, undertake all the analysis to do with quantity and quality. That is why the contaminant transport and modeling is very important. Although, like I said, it's not so difficult. It is just introduce you to, okay, the different contaminants, the dissolution, and then the governing equations. Because they are intertwined in the groundwater modeling governing equations, what is called the coupled PDEs. You couple them together, and then we will see how that can be done. Okay? But we will consider groundwater contamination by what is called L-NAPLs and D-NAPLs. Later on, we will explain what all these abbreviations mean. L-NAPL, light, non-aqueous phase liquids, and the D-NAPL, dense, non-aqueous phase liquids. The L-NAPLs are, example, light like petrol, those that are lighter than water. And the D-NAPLs, those that are denser, dense, non-aqueous phase liquids. Because in groundwater, the L-NAPLs, they stay on top of the water because they are lighter than water. So they float on the groundwater surface. So that's why they are called light relative to the groundwater. So they float on top. It's just like you pouring petrol in water. It will float. And the D-NAPLs, like kerosene, like benzene, benzene, I mean petrol. Okay? So they are all L-NAPLs. And the D-NAPLs, they are denser than water. So they go deep down to the aquifer, to the base. And the examples of the D-NAPLs you have like chlorinated solvents. Here we don't have a lot of what will I say? Dry cleaning. In dry cleaning, they usually use chlorinated solvents to clean your clothes. And then they discharge it probably in the ground and what have you. And if care is not taken, it can seep down and go and affect the groundwater. So the D-NAPL, they are denser, so they settle down. Okay, so we will consider each of these and then some aspect of the modeling, sensitivity analysis, heterogeneity and scale issues, application of models. And we will use some computer packages. So we will just introduce them. Introduction to the use of computer packages such as MODFLOW for the groundwater modeling, and then COMSOL Multiphysics for modeling groundwater and contaminant transport. This we will take some practical classes and demonstrate the use of this software, the MODFLOW and the COMSOL Multiphysics, and even give some assignment related to the use of the software. Okay? And then this is for the COMSOL, the numerical modeling. We will do a lot of problem formulation, PDEs, choice of boundary conditions, solution using finite element code, which has been incorporated in the COMSOL Multiphysics, and some post-processing of data, interpretation of results. And then we'll consider flow in saturated porous media with complex boundaries and heterogeneities, solid transport with common reaction models, effects of heterogeneity and dispersion. So all this, we will look at them. So if you look at the modified syllabus, basically what we did was to expand on the contaminant transport part, okay, and the use of the software that we are going to look at, okay. And the references for this course, these are the textbooks that we are going to use. The first one, this is groundwater flow and pollution by Beer, and we have Shabino, groundwater hydraulics and pollution transport. I have the first one. Okay. You have seen the first two references. This is the third one, Zen and Bennett applied contaminant transport modeling. I have the hard copy of this one, and then Bedient and Rifai, groundwater contamination. I have the hard copy. Schwarz and Zhang, groundwater. I think this one also only hard copy. This one also hard copy. And then applied hydrogeology, I have the soft copy. I think for the reference text, let me see. Resource books, okay. Applied hydro, okay. All right. I have some text that I can share with you. Probably after the class rep can collect in a flash, and then you can all copy. All right. Now about the rules and regulations, I have already started explaining about the attendance. As per rule, you need to have 75 attendance before you are allowed to sit for the final exams. And you must bring your notebook, calculator, and pen to each class. Your notebook, calculator, and pen. That is because we'll be having some classwork and some quizzes sometimes, okay? And also for your own good, because you may need to take down some notes sometimes. But you have to bring them to the class. And class attendance is very, very important. Like I started mentioning right from the beginning of the class. Because if you don't attend, I wonder how you will understand, not to talk of passing the course, okay? Passing is one thing. You are all graduates, postgraduate students. So you all know, I mean, you are serious students, not the undergraduate students. So in that case, attendance is very, very important. And like I mentioned before, because I can see now we have larger class, we have basically about 3 groups. Those from MSc1, hydraulics, and those from postgraduate diploma, and those that are auditing the course. Auditing means just attending the course, okay? So like I mentioned, even those attending the course, they have to come every class. Every class, I will monitor their attendance. So that's why I have 3 separate sheets for attendance. I call the first one regular, that's those for MSc1. Let me, do you have pen, please? Let me write MSc1, hydraulics. And then those auditing the course, and then postgraduate diploma. So put your name in the correct one. And like I mentioned, it's supposed to be a 3-credit-hour course. This is just 2 hours, 8 to 10. And then we'll have to find another hour to make it 3 credit. That at the end of the class, we will discuss about it. As we are going to see in the assessment plan, there will be a lot of assignments, you know, term papers, research summary, and whatnot. So we have to conduct ourselves in the best academic way possible, okay? We have to avoid cheating during quiz, during report writing, and during homework. And then plagiarism, which is very, very important as far as the class is concerned, because you will write a term paper in which we are going to explain later. And plagiarism is not limited to paraphrasing, summarizing, or published or unpublished work of another person without proper documentation of the original source. Even if you refer to the original source, it doesn't mean you will use his own English. I mean verbatim. You don't quote someone verbatim. You have to paraphrase, and then you give the source. Just because you have attributed the statement to the correct source, it doesn't mean you will just copy and paste the usual way we do things. No. If you do that, I will get you. All your assignments, all your term papers will be subjected to similarity, originality checker, the software. Well, not a software, but an online software that will take your write-up and look at all the sources online. Any similarity, not similarity, but copying things verbatim, exactly as they appear. And will highlight this line, like this paragraph was lifted from this source. This paragraph from that source. And then at the end, it will come up with what is called the similarity index. How many percentage of your work is copied verbatim from other sources? So it will give you some time, depending on the extent, 50%, 20%, 80%. Okay? Of course, this, we are used to copy and paste, but now no more. Because with the internet age, you cannot do that. You will be caught. and that is academic misconduct. That is unethical. And as postgraduate students, now some of you might have started writing papers in journals and conferences. You have to imbibe this idea, this attitude of not plagiarizing someone's work. And all it takes is, of course, you can use someone's statement or idea, but put it in your own English. Simple. Put it in your own English and then attribute it to the particular source that you copied. We all copy, isn't it? But what is a crime is when you use someone's English. That is one. And sometimes you can paraphrase, and without acknowledging the original source. That is also plagiarism. It's not just the paraphrasing. You can paraphrase, but you have to attribute honor to whom is due. You saw this statement from that person, from this article, from that article. Okay. Paraphrase and then put it, give the appropriate reference. That is very, very important. Okay? And like I said, if you do it, I will get you. I will not get you, but I have a means of getting you. Because your assignment, your term papers will be subjected to plagiarism checker. Okay? So, in that case, I think for us to work harmoniously, it's better we just try to avoid doing that as much as possible. And all it takes is just to paraphrase. We all know how to write in English. We all pass Gens 103, or I don't know what they call it now, and we have been writing in English. So it is not a big deal, okay? But we should all write in our own language. I mean, in our own expressions, in our own statements, okay? Yeah.
Paraphrased source. Who takes the honor? Who are you going to reference? Is it the original?
Yeah, the original article, because you are, let's say you are doing a literature review of a particular topic. This person worked on this and he found this, so you look at it and then you paraphrase. You put it and then you put it, or you can say according to so person, okay, this is what he did, and then you move ahead. You give it to the original source. Of course, sometimes one thing may have many sources. You can put them all together. Okay? Except in some instances, there could be some instances in which it is like a basic fact that if you are to quote the source, almost anybody that talks about that thing, that is how it is. A basic fact. In such a situation, you may not need to give any source. Because anybody in the area who knows, that particular area, once he knows anybody that has written on this particular issue, that is a basic fact. So in that case, if you are to put the source, you will just fill a whole page. Because anyone that has written on that thing, that is how it is. So except for this situation, this kind of a peculiar situation, so you can just paraphrase and move ahead without putting any source. But like I said, it is not all sources. Maybe as we move on, we will discuss more on this. Okay? But plagiarism is a crime and punishable by whatever, by the court of law. In the advanced world, there are a lot of things. In Germany, a minister resigned because he plagiarized his PhD research work. In France, it happened like that. In so many parts of the world, it doesn't matter, maybe you get your master's, your PhD, once it is confirmed that you plagiarized, most especially your research findings. Your research findings. Of course, any plagiarism is a crime, but it is worse when you plagiarize your results. You just go online and see some results and then copy them and present as if they were yours, as if you went to the lab and carried out the experiment. So meaning all your work, all your discussion will be based on that, which you plagiarize. That is the biggest of the plagiarism. Okay? And no matter what, if you get your BS, your MS, your PhD, in which you plagiarize your results at any point in time, this, if it is discovered, then that degree is going to be revoked, no matter the years, no matter the years. And how do we start fighting plagiarism? From now, from writing time papers, assignments, isn't it? Because here I know we are all used to copy and paste, thinking that when we copy and paste and put the source, we are covered. No, we are not covered. We have to use our own statements. We have to use our own statements. Okay? Except there could be, but more often than not in sciences, there could be rare instances in which maybe you may feel that this is the best way that statement can be presented. Then you have to put it in quotation mark and then put the source. To tell the reader that this statement is not mine. I copied as it is, and this is the source. But it does not normally happen in sciences. Usually in the humanities, the arts, because they may be quoting the statement by some president, you know, some celebrities, some personalities, some of the things they said, okay? But in sciences, more often than not, we don't have this. But should you find yourself in a situation that this statement, this is the best way, I cannot paraphrase it in any way, then you have to put it in quotation mark and then attribute that statement to the source. Then you are covered. Okay? So that is very, very important. And then all this, you all know, taking exam for another student and whatnot, providing others with information. You know, the basic rules for taking exams. And before you go out, you have to seek for permission, just as a good conduct of a class. And then assignments and quizzes. When assignment is given, you have to submit 1 week. After that, it will not be accepted. And there will be no make-up quizzes. And you should make effort to meet all announced deadlines. And then communication, we'll try probably to create a WhatsApp or Facebook group to be uploading our course materials and communicating with each other, maybe if we have any announcement to make. I will explore, there is another website that probably we can use that, but I didn't explore the website now. That's why I asked the classroom to collect the phone numbers, the WhatsApp phone numbers. But then I will try to find someone to assign so that he creates a WhatsApp group, because on WhatsApp now you can upload documents. Okay? So that will make communication easier. Okay? And then you have my email at my office. I don't know the number. You all know the first floor, first office. Okay, I don't know the number. That is my office. But as time moves on, I will post my office hours, because that is very important, which is the preferred time for you to meet me. Okay, but for now, because I am not completely settled, in the sense that the other courses I am intending to take have not started yet. So, and even for this one, we will have another extra hour. So when I have my complete schedule, I will have my weekly schedule, and then my office hours, during which you can come anytime, during those hours, preferably, and meet me for anything you have. Okay? Is it about the class, anything you need more explanation and whatnot? Go to the next page. Okay. Now this is page 3. Okay. The assessment plan for the course. This is very important. Why I'm taking my time to explain all this is because this will serve as the contract between you and me. Okay? When I say contract, I mean a guiding document or a working document that I will use throughout the course. And it's very important we understand each aspect of the syllabus. Now, the assessment plan for the course. As we know, this is a postgraduate course. So, of course, we will not bother you with a lot of exams here and there. But we will try to see that the basic understanding is there, and then the research part is instilled in you. So for that reason, we will deviate from the norm. The norm is normally to have a test, 40%, an exam, 60%, isn't it? And that's it, making up to 100%. In my own case, we have a lot of activities to carry out, in which each one has its associated weight. We'll be taking some quizzes, and by quizzes here, more often than not, we will announce them. They are just some short tests, per se, in which we will be testing your understanding of the basic concepts. Okay? And then, still under the quizzes, we will be having some classwork to test how attentive are you in class. We will present a particular principle and then give you a short classwork, just the application of the basic concept that was taught. Okay? So all this will be just 5%, and then there will be some assignments, homework, which will constitute 10%. And don't copy from anyone. Of course, if you feel you don't know how to do it, you can go and consult any of your friends that you feel he knows how to do it. He can give you an idea. But to do exactly as he did, that is a crime. Okay? In fact, even if I have time, you feel you don't know how to, you can come and consult me. I can explain to you how to go about it. But copying exactly from someone, trust me, I will get you. And when I get you, all of you will be punished. The original and the copier. Yeah, it's not only the person who copied. If you allow someone to copy your work as it is, you will also be punished. So don't allow anybody. You can teach anyone how to go about it, but if you allow someone to just make a photocopy of your work and submit, then the two of you are going to be punished for that. And that is very simple, so that each one of you will work. You are not undergraduate students. All of you, after this, after some time, you will have to write a thesis, an MSc thesis, individual, isn't it? In which you will have nobody to copy from. Okay? So this is where that attitude is going to be instilled in you. Okay? Now, we have research summary. For the research summary, each one of you is supposed to summarize a recent issue chosen from a groundwater or contaminant transport modeling topic from a reputable journal article. There are some list of suggested journal articles below, which we are going to see, okay? From a reputable journal article, not just any journal article, okay? Do you have access to Science Direct? But by the way, do you know Science Direct? Yes. All of you? No. Who knows Science Direct? Let me see your hands up. Science Direct. 1, 2. 2 persons. And how many are we all in the class? Let me count. How many are we all? So I want to know the percentage. 5. 17. 2 out of 17. So how do you carry out your research, your postgraduate research? Let me ask you this now. I mean, you want to write an article, okay, or maybe about your thesis, maybe you have a term paper in a course. How do you go about it? Where do you consult?
So, normally, we are not taught like this.
You are not taught like this?
Yes.
But you have your thesis to write. whatever it is, isn't it? You have your thesis in which some of you have made proposals, some of you have started in earnest, isn't it? So how do you go about your thesis?
So sometimes we do search online.
Where do you just Google?
You Google it. So some theses are from ResearchGate. You get some from ResearchGate, some from other.
Oh. Okay.
It is more like random googling, you just.
All right. Because this is really a serious issue. Postgraduate students, you don't know science direct. So I can only imagine how you do your research. You see, only 2 out of 17. And the 2, do you have access? Oh. What about the other person? Where is the other person? Do you have access? What?
If you have access that is free.
No. Do you have access?
When I was in disaster management, there was a password we were given.
Okay.
That I use.
Are you using the same password now?
It has been long. I have not used the password.
It has been long. So you don't know whether it's active or not?
No, I don't know whether the password is still active. But recently I saw one in civil engineering. I saw one of their printouts that you can access science direct with this particular password. It seems it's still APU subscribed.
The same password that you have?
No, I didn't compare the password.
Okay, please, after the class, we'll go to my office. You will check if the password is still active. I had wanted to go to the library and get the password, but I had been very busy these days. That is one thing. Another thing which this is something separate. Science Direct is one of the best databases that you have. It has most of the reputable journals in the world. When I say journals, I mean reputable journals. What happened is that reputable journals, more often than not, you don't find them free. They are not what is called open access. Open access are those journals which you get free of charge. You get their articles free. By just Googling, you will have the articles there. Okay? You can still have some good journals that are open access, but very few. But most of the excellent journals, they are not open access, meaning they are not free. You have to buy, you have to subscribe by paying, or you have to have institutional subscription to those journals for you to access articles in those journals. The policy is simple. For the journals that are open access, usually lower quality than the ones that are not open access, the author pays to get his article published in the journal. Because you pay, so it's like you are allowing everyone to have free access. Do you understand? So all open access journals, an author has to pay. The author of the article, he has to pay for processing fee, for this and that, which sometimes they could be very high. This is something not related, indirectly related to this, because you are to write, I just talked about plagiarism, and I'm just talking about research summary, which I specifically mentioned it has to be from a reputable journal article. Okay, so it's indirectly related to the course, and also it will help you in your postgraduate research, your thesis, your dissertations. So you pay for, if your article is reviewed and accepted, you have to pay, and you pay heavily in dollars. Some of them $500. Dollar today maybe 362 naira. So $500 will be about what? 180,000 naira. How? That is the processing fee for one article. Some of them you can pay as high as $1,200. $1,200 to get one article published. Most especially the ones that are highly reputable, in which probably they make it open access. So you will pay the burden of allowing your paper to be available free online. You can imagine $1,200. That is a huge amount. That is one part for the open access journals. You may have some very few that you don't pay anything, you just send and they publish it. This is what they call predatory journals. Their value, they have next to nothing. You just send and you see it online, and no proof of any peer review and whatnot. Okay? So when you Google, you find all these open access articles, which I told you, usually they are of lower quality than the ones in which you need subscription. But then you can have high quality articles, because as an author, you can upload your articles in your university webpage, on your academic social media like ResearchGate, like LinkedIn. LinkedIn is social media for professionals, like ResearchGate, like academia.edu. You can upload your articles which you publish in those good journals in which subscription is needed. Because it is your article, you can upload it, and someone can view it. Someone can download the article free of charge. So when you Google, these are the two different types of articles that come your way. But the huge amount of articles remain unaccessed. And more often than not, the most qualitative of them, they are not open access. You need subscription. I'm not here to give you lecture on what is called ISI-indexed journals, but more often than not, this is what is called ISI-indexed journals, because they are the highest quality journals we have. They usually have what is called impact factor, although you have bogus impact factors. You can open a journal, it will say it has impact factor, but the recognized impact factor is that by Thomson Reuters. That is the one impact factor that is known and accepted by all. But because of the issue of impact factor, a lot of bogus impact factors are emanating. You'll open a journal website, it will say it has also impact factor, given by what? Then it will mention one organization, but the best one, or the authentic one, is the one by Thomson Reuters. This group of journals called ISI-indexed journals, almost 99.9% of them are not open access. Are not open access. They are the group of journals in which you have the highest quality of articles. An article in which if you read it, you will know that, this is really giving me a headway in my research area. And they are not open access. You either purchase the article, an article can cost, let's say, $24 per article, but if you have a university subscription, you can access all the articles, usually in that journal. So Science Direct, now coming back to Science Direct, because I'm only trying to explain what Science Direct is. About 2 years back, I gave a seminar on ISI-indexed journals and Science Direct for postgraduate students and lecturers as well, but most are not aware of what is Science Direct. So Science Direct is a compendium of these high impact factor journals and these excellent journals, in which more often than not you need to pay. So you need subscription to the Science Direct for you to access these groups of journals, in which you can type your research topic, a keyword, and it will populate you with thousands of entries, which you can download at a go. You can select all of them and download either the abstract or the full papers if you have access. Because if you have access, it will not appear as purchase. It will appear as download. And that's where the access is important. ABU has access to Science Direct for so long a time. But unfortunately, our postgraduate students that are supposed to be using these resources are not aware of what is Science Direct, let alone how to use it for their postgraduate research. So we will verify the password. If it is functional, we will distribute, because it is a very good source of excellent articles. Even if it is not functional, we'll go to the library and get the access. Okay? So when doing your research, it's not just going to Google. The first port of call, you go to Science Direct, not Google. Of course, when you do it in Science Direct, you can go back to Google because you can have some other sources, you know, here and there. But the first port of call is Science Direct. So that's why I was asking you, how do you go about making your research? Of course, you will say, some of you may say all articles are the same. No, they are never the same. They are never the same. Because before you can get your article accepted in any journal that is indexed by ISI, ISI is in, what is even ISI? Institute of Scientific Information, which is now called Thomson Reuters. Okay? Before you get your article accepted into this group of journals, it has to be a very high quality article, extremely high quality, before it can be accepted by any of these ISI journals. And that is why when you find any journal in this group, you will see that it is written in a way that is superb, excellent, and will add to your knowledge in no small measure. Okay? Of course, you have other databases. Science Direct is just one of them. You have Springer. Are you aware of Springer? Springer has, some of its articles are free, some are not. But Science Direct is number one. Because almost all articles, most of the articles in Science Direct are indexed by ISI. Most of them. Maybe 99%. Okay? Springer, some of its articles are ISI indexed and some are not. But it's also a good source of scientific information. Then you have, all this you need access. Although, like I said, Springer has some of its articles free. Even in Science Direct, you may be lucky to find some articles free. Because you can make your article free by paying. Even if a journal, okay, I explained the process for open access. What about the process for the articles that need subscription? The ISI indexed journals. In that case, you don't pay a penny. You submit your paper for review. It goes through. Sometimes even the editor will reject instantly. And sometimes it goes through review if they feel it has some substance. If it is reviewed and the reviewer's comments are positive, then they will ask you to submit, to effect the corrections. And if accepted, you don't pay a dime. You don't pay a dime. But in some of them, for you as an author to even gain access to your article published in the journal, you need to pay or get subscription. Some will give you complimentary copy. As an author, okay, this is your copy. But some, no complimentary copy. It is your article. For you to gain access to the article published in the journal, you need either subscription or you pay. Because that is how they get their money. Like I said, the first one, the open access, you pay. So in that case, they make it free for all. In this one, you don't pay a dime. They are only after the quality. But like I said, getting your paper accepted in this group of journals is tough. But if accepted, you don't pay a penny. All they need is your paper has to be of the quality that is acceptable to the journal. And if it is up to that level, you are good. You don't pay anything. But any other person has to pay. He either gets subscription by paying or he pays per article. Is that clear? So like I said, you have Science Direct, you have Springer, you have Taylor and Francis. All these are, Taylor and Francis is a publisher. It publishes books and journal articles. Okay? So you have Taylor and Francis, you have Wiley. Wiley publishes books and also journal articles. So all these are different databases. There are different databases. And postgraduate students should have access to all this. Because undertaking a postgraduate research means a lot. You are not just after replicating something done elsewhere. First of all, you need to update your knowledge on the particular area to see what others have done, and then to identify what can you add. Because knowledge is like an ocean. All we need from you is to add, even if it's a drop, to the literature that is currently existing, not just to replicate what others have done. And for you to do that effectively, you need to know exactly what others have done from different parts of the world, not just in ABU or in Nigeria. And how do you do that? You need to have the information. How do you get the information? You need these databases. Okay? So that is that about science direct and whatnot. So I was explaining the research. Maybe time will permit us to do it. But like I said, this is very, very important because I said this is our contract, the contract between you and I, isn't it? This is our working document. And it's very important that we understand each part of it very well. And then the lecture will be kick-started as soon as we are done. The research summary, like I said, we should summarize a recent issue chosen from a groundwater or contaminant transport modeling topic from a reputable journal article. By reputable, it has to be ISI journal. It has to be. And from this, my little explanation, I hope you understand what is ISI journal. I gave a workshop, a seminar 2 years back on that. I don't know if there will be need to do it again, but at least I have summarized all that I said about the ISI-indexed journals. And even here in Nigeria, we have ISI-indexed journals. But almost all of them are in the medical sciences. We don't have any ISI-indexed journal in the sciences and engineering. All are in the medical sciences, unfortunately. Maybe as time moves on, we will have ours. Because like I said, they are the highest grade of, the highest collection, the highest quality you have. Okay? Now, so you summarize a topic from this, from a reputable journal, and present the summary. You just get one journal article, one, from the reputable journal, and then read it, understand it, digest every part of it. Do you understand? And then summarize and present the summary to colleagues. We will be sitting, and then you present to us. These can be new techniques, problems, critique, data sets, software, etc. So it's just one journal article. You read and understand everything. Because when presenting, you will be our lecturer. And we can ask any question to test your understanding of what is in the paper. So that means you need to understand it, to understand every part, every bit of it. That is what is called the research summary. And each one of you taking this course from MSc 1 have to do it. For those that are auditing, if they want to, optional, up to them. But those that are going to be graded for the course, they have to take it. Okay? And even those from the postgraduate diploma. Okay, that we'll discuss with Prof. Ismail, who is taking them. We'll discuss about this. But for now, those in MSc 1, they must do it. And as we are starting this course today, your work has already started. Time has already started ticking. So probably today you can go and start searching. What topic? No, not topic. Which article? And then start working on it. Because we'll give some deadline. Okay? That is one. And that research summary takes 10%. Meaning you have to do it well, isn't it? If you can see the assessment criteria, you have 5%, 10%, like that. So it means for you to be excellent, you have to make sure you put in your very best in each of these assessment criteria, isn't it? In each of them. Because if not, if you feel, no, I don't need this, it's just 10%, then who knows what you will score in the time paper? And who knows what you will get in the final exam? Oh, but we'll need to power source. Where is the extension, please? Let me plug it. I will send you the syllabus. Maybe we will print one copy and then you can take hard copy or soft copy, whichever one. I don't have printer yet in my office. What? The extension is not working?
You don't know.
But you told me that there is an extension, isn't it? It's not working at all? Can you go to my office and pick the one in my office, please? So that is about the research summary, which I said you can start working on it right from this time. What? To the what? To the science direct? Yeah, that's why I said immediately after the class, we will try to iron that one out. Even if the access is not working, we'll go to library and try to get the access. Okay? What? Then, yeah, the WhatsApp. I mean, will you be attending our class all the time? Okay. It is going to be created. Okay. Now, the second part is the term paper. Okay? The term paper. What do I mean by a term paper? And how do we go about it? Like I said from the beginning, this is a postgraduate class, not undergraduate class. Even at undergraduate level, sometimes they have term paper. Okay? But more often than not, in postgraduate class, it is geared towards postgraduate research. And all the activities should also be geared towards enhancing your capabilities in research. And one of them is term paper. You choose a recent topic from groundwater or contaminant transport modeling and develop it into an article using article writing format. So it's just like you, let's say, writing a review paper. Okay? Because you are not going to the lab to get any result. You get a topic, you choose a topic of your choice, but you have to come and discuss the topic with me. It has to be approved by me. You don't just get any topic and just start working. When you have any topic in mind, you come and present it to me and then we discuss. If approved, then you go ahead and start. Okay? If there is need for any modification, we do it. Okay? And then once you have the topic, then you look for articles related to that topic. And this will inculcate the habit. Is it long enough? Oh. Then we have to bring this chair. Okay. Is it charging? Yeah. Yes. Touch it. It's not charging. Okay. No. Yes. 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 Okay. All right. So, where am I? Okay, the term paper. So, when you have the topic, you now go and look for the articles related to that topic. And then you use an article writing format. You will have introduction, review, methodology, results and discussions, recommendations, and conclusion. These are the basic headings for any article, isn't it? So you will write under all these headings. So you'll develop that topic into an article. What I said more often than not is like a review paper. Because you have articles written in that, and then you read each one of them, understand them, and then try to have them like an article. And then that's what you will do in your thesis, isn't it? Am I right? So it has to start somewhere. And this one, you can see, is 20%. Sorry, 25%. So meaning you don't just throw to me anything. Garbage in will be garbage out. Okay? You have to do a quality job here. You have to do a quality job here. And that's why if you see, we don't have any test. Why will I just put you under 2-3 hours and try to test your ability to recall certain things. No. As postgraduate students, that will not help you a lot, because you can go and cram everything and then pour it and then delete it from your memory. No, that won't help you in the long run. It won't help you a lot. But this practice, these exercises, will help you wherever you are, will help you towards writing your thesis, your dissertation. Okay? And it's something that you don't just sit down under 1 or 2 hours to write a term paper, isn't it? You have to spend a lot of resources, a lot of time compiling, reading the articles, understanding them, and then putting them together, isn't it? Is that understood? Yes.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Earlier on, we talked about the issue of plagiarism.
Yes.
Now,
and these term papers will be subjected to plagiarism checker. So if you copy anything without paraphrasing, without attributing correctly the source, I will get you.
Okay.
All the term papers will be subjected to plagiarism checker.
Okay, in that case,
Yes.
now we have not carried out this particular research.
Yes, like I said, it's more or less like a review.
Yes.
So you will be combining, this, okay, presenting.
My major question is on the results that we are going to present. Now, since we have not carried out any of these things, we only maybe gather different articles on this particular topic.
You present the results from the articles that you got, but you will first understand them and then present them in logical way. Did you get my point? Because this is just like writing an article or review paper. It's just like writing a review paper. And if you will need some tips on how to write a review paper, I can give you. There was a seminar I attended on how to write a review paper, which is very excellent. I have all the materials. I can share that with you. Because this is more or less like writing a review paper, which is the first step for any writing, any thesis or dissertation. You need to do literature review, isn't it? That is the first thing you do before you move ahead with your thesis or dissertation. So I will share with you, those tips and guidelines for writing. This is more or less like writing a review paper. And let me tell you, sometimes, if you do it very well, from this term paper, you can publish a paper out of it. I'm not saying you must, but I'm just telling you how good it can be. Some from their term paper, they publish articles from their term paper. And that is to tell you how good they made it, isn't it? It is not just anything. You don't just write anything. You can see it's 25%. So don't think you'll just submit anything to me. It has to be standard. It has to be done in the best possible way. And you have to give in your time to that. If you have a test, you just sit down and read maybe for 2 hours and that's it, isn't it? But this one, no. And that is why I said my work has started today, and your work has also started from now, isn't it? Because now you will have to be thinking of what am I going to write on? Although we have not even started the course, isn't it? But we will start, isn't it? But you will have to be thinking, okay, what topic am I going to write on? And then when you have any idea, we have to brainstorm and accept the topic. And once a topic is accepted, we will pass it around so that nobody will come with similar topic. Is that clear? Okay?
Groundwater or contaminant transport. That means you can take science.
Yes. You can take a topic either from groundwater modeling or from contaminant transport modeling. Okay? Any one of them, depending on your interest. Okay? So you develop it into an article using an article writing format, and then communicate your chosen topic for the research summary and term paper to the lecturer and copy your colleagues ahead of presentation time to avoid duplication in topic selection. Use up-to-date references. Very important. You don't just go and bring all the references in the 80s, 90s. Of course, there could be some classical articles in which whenever you are talking about this topic, you have to refer to this article. That is an exception rather than the rule. It means, of course, you can have some of the articles to be outdated, but more often than not, you need to have most of your references to be up to date. Okay? And then presentation and Q&A sessions should not exceed 20 minutes and 15 minutes respectively. Okay? So what are those examples of the journal articles that I said that are recommended as far as this course? You have Water Resources Research, Hydrogeology Journal, Groundwater, Journal of Hydrology, Journal of Hazardous Materials. This one is very, very good, very excellent, covering most of the aspects we have. Okay, but of course, all these journals are ISI-indexed journals. They are not free of charge. Okay, they are not free of charge. International Journal of Water Resources Development, Water Science and Technology, Water Resources Management, Environmental Geology, Hydrological Sciences Journal, Journal of Contaminant Hydrology, Journal of Contaminant Hydrogeology, and Journal of Environmental Engineering. These are some of the highly relevant journals as far as the course is concerned. Okay? Okay, I think, so now, I took over 1 hour explaining the syllabus. Now Q&A session about the syllabus, because like I said, this is our contract. This is the contract between you and me. And there is, I think, oh, no, I think I didn't finish. I only finished with the term paper, isn't it? 25%. And then there will be some mini computer projects. If you remember, under the course description, I mentioned that we are going to use MODFLOW, COMSOL Multiphysics, to model groundwater flow and contaminant transport, respectively, isn't it? So when I teach you how to use this software, I'll give you some projects, some mini projects, in which you have to work on it and then submit. Okay? So these mini projects will constitute about 10%. Okay? They are simple projects in which you will have to, it will enable you to learn the software very well and understand it. Who knows? Some of you might develop interest maybe to work for your thesis or your dissertations in any of the areas to be learned here. Okay? And that is why if you see the assessment policy, it's not really geared towards testing. Of course, there are some quizzes and assignments, okay? But not having a lot of exams except for the final exam, which will be 40%, not the usual 60%. If you add everything up, it will give you 100%. So the final exam will be comprehensive, everything. So in that case, you have to go and crack your brain and, you know, so that you make sure this 40% you get as much as you can have, okay? Of course, we can modify later because a postgraduate course should be geared towards enhancing the students' research capabilities, okay? Not just like having exams, something that they will just come and sit for 2 hours and that's it. But at least the weight of the final exam has been reduced from 60 to 40. And then the other activities will help in shaping your research capability, okay? And I have some tentative dates for the research summary. We may take it from the 5th week. When I say the 5th week, I don't know how long, when are you finishing this session? So when I say 5th week, I mean the 5th week when I start the lecture. But that one, I will have to look at the timetable, I mean, the academic calendar, when is the session closing for the postgraduate. Although I know for the postgraduate calendar, it doesn't normally follow the pattern of the undergraduate. But nevertheless, I will look at the postgraduate academic calendar and see. Because tentatively, we'll have it in the 5th week. I mean, the research summary, in which you'll get an article, summarize it, understand it, and present it to us. And then the term paper in the 11th week, meaning towards the end of the course, so that you have understood a lot from the course. You have gathered a lot. And that will now reshape your topic, your choice of topic, and your understanding of the particular aspect that you want to present. Okay? And then, like I said, the final exam, in which is going to be 40%. Yes. So Any question? Any clarification on what I presented so far? And like I said, the syllabus, I will give a soft copy to the class rep so that we can maybe print one copy. You can have either as soft copy or as hard copy. And then you go over it, because that will be, like I said, the contract between you and me. If you see here, I have itemized all that I'll be doing in the course. And you can see it is really laborious, isn't it? And we have to start from day one. Okay? Yes?
The only problem now is, I think next week is the 7th week or so.
7th week of the second semester? 7th week?
Yes. So I don't know how it's going to be.
Are you sure it's the 7th week?
Last one, is it there? So my own suggestion is that we should just disregard the calendar and not go. We can accept. Currently, there is a second semester MSc tutors.
Okay.
It's been taken in this session. What they ought to have done last year.
Okay. All right. I got your point, and this course, when we start, you will realize it's not something that I can just rush you. It's not something that, okay, we can say, okay, instead of having 3 hours per week, let's have 6 hours. It's not something that can just be rushed anyhow. It's something that you need to take it gradually, assimilate, understand, and then we move on. And of course, I have other courses to take. Although I haven't started, but probably next week I will start them. Okay? So let's first start. Okay, we have already started. And then hopefully, like I said last week, I was indisposed. Although even now, I'm not as strong as I want to be. But hopefully, I'll be stronger within next week. So we are going to continue. Okay? So any other question? If you have any question, feel free to ask. When we start my class, you will see that I ask a lot of questions. It has to be interactive. You don't just sit down and be watching me. You have to talk as well. Okay? No questions? So everything is clear, understood, right? Yeah.
As you said, this time if somebody is lucky, he can publish it.
Yes, if you do a very good job, like now, like I said, I will give you because it's more or less like a review paper, since you are not going to the lab to get any new results. So you are reviewing what others have done about a particular topic. Did you get my point? So it's more or less like teaching you how to write a review paper. But like I said, I will give you some materials on the guides, the tips, on how to write a good review paper. So if you take your time and do it excellently, believe you me, you can have it published. Yeah, definitely. And one thing, review papers are one of the it's one of the group of papers that has, one of the highest citation. You know, when you publish a paper and someone references that paper, that is citation, isn't it? And the more citations you have, the better you are as an author. You can have people having, let's say, total citations, 50, 100, thousands. So it tells the level of your academic success in a way. So review papers, because anybody who wants to write on that needs the review paper. So they are one of the papers that take the high citations, because a lot of people will need those papers whenever they are writing about anything to do with that area. Okay? Yes?
So my question here is that means you don't need to go to lab before and carry out the experiment before you publish your paper?
Yeah, a paper, it depends. If a paper is a review paper, you don't need to go to the lab and do anything. But a review paper may have references sometimes of not less than 80, 100. Sometimes, before you write a review paper, you may consult over 200, 300 articles. Because you want to review all that has been done in that, in that area. So anything that has been written before, you need to, if possible, get access to it so that you write a comprehensive review. In fact, some of the articles, they don't just accept review paper. Some of the journals, I mean, they don't just accept review paper. It has to be upon invitation. They will invite, okay, authors, okay, we need review papers. You don't just submit a review paper. Sometimes. But for a review paper, obviously you don't need to go to any lab and do anything.
And it's considered as journal.
Yeah, I told you it's one of the most qualitative journal articles that you can have. Because any review paper, if you see the citation, the number of citations will be so humongous, so much. Because a lot of people, it's just like you now, you want to undertake a research. The first thing you do after arriving at the topic is what? Reviewing what others have done, similar to what you are intending to do, isn't it? So if you have a review paper that has captured a review of that topic, that will be like an excellent thing for a start, isn't it? To see which will summarize, it will give you the references, what others have done, it will criticize, it will present a critique. Okay, this particular guy has done this, but this is not the way to do it, but this guy has went further, you know. So it is something that is an excellent startup for anybody starting any research. So it's one of, definitely it will be accepted. And not even just accepted, but the number of citations will be very high. And once you have high number of citations, then as an academic, it places you have an edge over others. Although here, what obtains here may be different in the sense that, one, our journals do not have international recognition presence. Let's even start with presence. Do not have international presence. We have like the NJE, Nigerian Journal of Engineering, but it's not available online. Is it? It's not. So does that mean it's meant for only ABU, academics in ABU, or those authors outside ABU that have published who will now have a copy and place in their library? So definitely the presence, the presence of the journal is limited. And that limits the number of people that will see those articles and use them. Because when they use the article, that is when they will cite it. So no online presence, then citation will be extremely low, next to nothing. But when it has online presence, anybody from all parts of the globe, he will Google search. Just like you mentioned, you will go to Google, isn't it? That is what obtains in most parts, isn't it? They will go to Google and they will see an article related to their area. So they will download, read, and if they find something useful, they will cite it. And it counts. But most of our local journals do not have online presence. And once they don't have online presence, then you can only imagine the number, the audience, the targeted audience, the number of people that will have access to that journal. Then the next thing is the quality. I just talked about ISI journals. We have some journals that are ISI-indexed in Nigeria, but like I said, they are medical journals. Maybe about 3 or so. They are all in the medical field. None in the natural sciences, in the physical sciences, in the applied sciences. None. We don't have none. And I just finished mentioning that these ISI journals are the highest quality journals you have for any research. You can have someone saying he published in Nature. All the groundbreaking research, let's say in medicine, they will tell you from Nature. Or there is another science for the physical sciences. If you have a journal in Nature, one article, then you are an idol to be worshipped in the academic arena. Because these are they have the highest impact factor you can have. 54, 30 something. Yeah, impact factor, some journals can have 0 point something, but still they are quality. But the highest you have 30, 40, 50. Most of the groundbreaking research in medicine, they will tell you from the journal Nature or from the journal Science. We have Nigerians that have articles in those journals. But
we need to have the awareness. Do we even know what is ISI? Do we know what is this, what is that? Some of you may even have journals in ISI-indexed journals, but you don't even know that you have, because you don't know the value, you don't know what is even ISI-indexed journal. Yet, you even have an article there. It means you don't know your value. Did you get my point? Yes.
It's still concerning this review work.
This what?
Review work.
The review work, okay.
In the situation where the previous work done involved laboratory or some investigation. So how could it be reviewed without going to laboratory or the investigation?
No, you read everything, understand, not just the laboratory results, you look at his conclusions and all that has to do with it. And then look at what others have done. And then from there you can now arrive at, okay, this one, has he done it correctly or not? Because you have a lot of pool of articles in the same area.
It means the review is that we are adding something.
No, you are not adding, you are like more or less presenting a critique. What is called critique? Critique is you are looking at it and looking at the suitability or otherwise. This guy, did he do it correctly or not? Okay, this guy got this result. This guy got that result. So when you combine, it becomes complete. Okay, so it's not only a critique also, but like making it holistic, bringing everything together so that someone that will go through the review work will now have a holistic idea about the topic. Okay, this guy has taken this part, this guy has taught that part, this guy that part. So when you combine everything, it becomes, the picture becomes clearer. Okay, so it's a critique, it's a combination, it's analysis and what have you. But you are not, adding anything to the result. You are only, check any review paper. What will happen is this. Look at any review paper. You can type review. Most of review papers, most of them will have review in their topic. Most of them will have review in the topic. So get any review paper and then you will see how it is done. Okay? Although in this case, like I said, it's not necessarily, you mustn't like follow that. You can just get a topic and then get the papers and then try to see as much as you can do. But it is 25%. Meaning you have to devote a lot of time, resources in trying to make sure you come up with something that is very sound, very good. Isn't it? It's not just anything. And it will introduce you to the art of writing. Because the art of writing is something that is very important. As postgraduate students, you cannot avoid it. You cannot avoid it. And how do you start it? It's not just when you are going to start your thesis. It has to start when you are taking courses. So that when you are starting your thesis, you have taken course here, course there, So you have a very sound idea about exactly what you want to do. And when you start, it becomes very easy for you. But when you don't learn anything about writing and then you are starting your thesis, that is when it will be a disaster. Okay?
So, concerning this paper,
Yeah.
you said it requires
Yes.
a collection of journals. Everyone
About that topic, yes.
Now, when it comes to results, I know or I guess that most people in some cases have varying results. So how do I mine them? Because eventually I present results and discussion.
Yes.
So how do I mine all those results?
When you read, like if you remember what I mentioned, it's like pieces of a puzzle. When you put pieces of a puzzle, it becomes whole, isn't it? It becomes complete. That's exactly what you are going to do. Each result is like a puzzle, putting them and fixing them together. But they are all in different papers. Did you get my point? What you will read and understand and relate them together. Did you get my point?
Yes.
Because an article, each article you see is addressing a particular point. So now you are writing about the topic. This one has written about A, this one about B, this one about C. But they are all related. So you now read, understand them, and then present them in the best way possible. Did you get my point? But like I said, when you start, now it will be more of theory than practical. But when you start to get the topic first, and then the papers, and then reading through the papers, understanding them, then it will become practical. But now, as probably you will say, probably, is this the first course that you are writing a term paper?
Yes, yes.
This is the first course?
Yes, sir.
Oh, okay, then you are lucky. I will only take you one course, so you will not write any other term paper. Okay? Huh? I know, you are lucky. You are very lucky. No, because it's a headache. I must tell you, it's a big headache. Just like I mentioned, when it can be replaced with an exam in which you just read maybe overnight and just come within 2 hours, write exams and go, isn't it? But as postgraduate students, no. I can put an exam, but there must be a term paper. There must be a term paper. There must be a term paper. In fact, in the research summary, I wanted to put 2, but I said, let's start with 1 and see how it goes. Because a postgraduate course should be geared towards, enhancing your research capabilities. Because all this, some may pick idea in that particular topic he wrote, and then develop it into a thesis. And that is the aim. Not just you just take a course, exam, and then pass, and then when you start your thesis, the first thing is the topic. Some may take them 5 months, 6 months, trying to even get a topic, isn't it? Not to even start, but thinking of even what to do. You may find something interesting. Oh, I want to continue in this track. And then, good for you. That is the whole aim. And even if you don't continue in any of the tracks, writing is an art. Article writing is an art. You don't just learn it overnight. You don't just learn it overnight. And whether you like it or not, you have to write a thesis. And depending on your supervisor, you also have to publish. And how do you publish? You write an article. And like I said, writing is an art. You have to learn it. It's like a craft, gradually. It's not just something you gain or you learn overnight. No.
So, my question will be two, sir. The first is, can a review paper be reviewed? Then the second...
What do you mean by can a review paper be reviewed?
Paper that will be reviewed. Saying review is a component of it can combine different paper, bring it together and to confirm that particular research topic, that this and this. Then the second one is, let's talk about the contaminant part of the groundwater. Contaminant, you have different elements that contaminate water body. Let's see now, and different research topic has to do with different area of study, like the particular area whereby you carry out the research. And let's say, for instance, let's say lead. This particular area, let's say someone work, the research area is Cardinal, while someone is in River State. They have different results. And we want to review this paper. How do we now, in the result part of the paper, how do we now put this result? Talking about lead, lead is a single entity. Now, let's say someone has 0.38 this area. The other area also talking about lead, the same underground has 0.48. And we want to...
Okay. Yes, a review paper has to be reviewed because when submitting your article to any journal, it has to go through rigorous review process. Just the fact that it's a review paper doesn't mean it will just sell through smoothly. No way. In fact, like I told you, some journals do not just accept review papers. It has to be open invitation because of how important that is. That is one. 2, about, let's say, someone carrying out, let's say, lead contamination in one part of the country, another in another part. Okay? In that case, you look at, first, what have they done and what have they obtained? What are the results? And then try to marry them. This is the result for lead obtained in this area, and this is the brief summary of the results. And then, in another part, this is the brief summary of the results. And that's it. Because it's just like I mentioned, it's like putting the pieces of a puzzle together to make a whole. Like, okay, in Nigeria, we had lead contamination in Zamfara, isn't it? Okay, do we have any lead contamination elsewhere? Is there any mining activities taking place elsewhere in which there will be lead contamination? You can find out. and then put all that has been done about lead together. This is just like an instance. But like I said, because probably you are hearing it the first time, you will have a lot of theoretical questions now. But when you start to get the articles, to read them, then that is when you will really appreciate it more. And your questions could reduce. Because then you are like practically working on them. But now you'll be, how will I do that? How will I? Just wait. When you start, most of the questions are going to be answered.
Still on the term paper.
Yes.
Let's say maybe on a particular topic, I've been able to go through maybe, let's say 5 to 10 different journals. Now, when they
Journal articles?
Yes.
Okay.
About particular topic.
Okay.
I want to read, internalize, and come
Okay.
up
Okay.
for my conclusion.
Okay.
Now, at the end of the day, when it comes to the
But 5 to 10 is too small. Hey. Okay. But this is not an example. Because you have to do review. If you look at it, review. And in review, you have to, probably 5 to 10 may be so small. But it may just be like citing, this has done this. And when reading, you may find an excellent one that has captured that review very well. Okay? But let's move on. Go ahead.
So when it comes to the reference, now, is it that automatically maybe paper 1, you just obtain all his reference as your own reference is part of the journal that you have considered, or?
Okay, now, when you read a paper, and let's say it reviews the particular topic that you are interested in, let's say excellently, and you want to use that particular review that it did, and it has referred to, let's say, in 2 paragraphs about 5 articles. Yes, you can move them in, but more often than not, it depends on what it says. If that statement is not referred to in the journal, it means it is the person, the author, that is making that statement. So you give the credit to the article, to the authors. If he gives a reference, then you also lift it as it is. Okay? But you have to still paraphrase. You still have to paraphrase. And then refer to the same source that the person has referred. Okay? But at the same time, avoiding just copying exactly all the reviews only from one article. Move to other articles. Okay? And see what they have done. Okay? And then, I don't know if you know, I have 2 hours, although I started late. Maybe I will add just 5 more minutes. Because I came early, but the class members came late. Maybe you are aware of the citation manager. Because you also need to learn how to use the citation manager. Not just to be putting the references manually. 2 years back, I think I gave a workshop on that. I don't know, maybe you may not be here, but you should learn how to automatically cite or put a citation. Because this will help you in eliminating something called cited, not referenced. Referenced, not cited. Because when you are writing, and that's one of the benefits of the Science Direct, you can import the citation into what is called a citation manager. The famous among them is EndNote. And now the new Windows, Word, Office, it comes with an inbuilt citation manager, in which you can import all the citations, so that when typing and working, you will just insert the citation. It will insert it in the text, and it will insert it under references automatically. And when you delete, it deletes from the text and in references. So there is like a hyperlink connecting the one in reference in the text and in references. This is something for another day which we can talk about, because you will have to learn to use citation manager. If not, when you write an article, you will always have the issue that, the comment will be cited, not referenced. Referenced, not cited. But with citation manager, this will be eliminated completely. And it will make your work easier. Most especially when writing like a term paper in which you will have many references, instead of typing each one of them manually. And Again, when submitting your article to journal, it helps because by just selecting the referencing format, it changes automatically to conform to a particular journal. Like the Journal of Hazardous Materials is one of the best journals we have. So it has its own peculiar method of citation. So once you use the citation manager, you can at all times change it from one form to the other by just clicking. Like I said. P15. Mechanical. P15 ko? Yanzu? Okay, P15. All right. Any other question? I have to leave now. Like I said, I came with the intention of going through the syllabus and starting the class. But I guess what we have done is also good enough. And from here we can start. So now when do we meet? When can we get our next hour?
On Thursday 9 to 10. Thursday 9 to 10. Thursday 9 to 10. Thursday 9 to 10.
Thursday 9 to 10? Oh, attendance. Like I said, there are 3 forms. The regular MSc1, those auditing the course, meaning just attending. And then the PGD. Anybody from PGD, postgraduate diploma? Nobody? Please inform those from PGD. Okay, MSc1. Yeah. So Thursday 9 to 10. You are all free. Thursday 9 to 10. So our next class. Huh? Why are you not free?
I have lecture. But I have to be here also. I have class.
Okay. No, I know.
It's not true.
So who is not free? 9 to 10. Only you? No, I know. Wait. Only you.
Maybe others that are absent. There are some that are absent.
Okay, tentatively, let's meet 9 to 10 and then see how it goes. Okay? So thank you so much. I will be leaving now, and then I will have to solve my projector troubles before the next class. I'm just using it the first time. Oh, where's my brown? Yeah. Oh, okay, sir. Yeah, okay. I'm just packing up.
You know B15 mechanical.
B15. Okay, I will just meet you now. Yeah, I will just meet you now, sir.
So that's my number.
Yes.
This is the extension code. So, class rep, take the attendance. I will go to B15 now. When I will come back, and then I will give you the soft copy of the review guidelines, the syllabus, and whatnot. Okay?